Hello, everybody. This is the Manoli's Musings podcast. I am your host, Manoli, and I have a special guest with me now. Say hello.
Hi, my name is Bryce. I've been Manoli's friend, fortunately, I think, for the last 20 years? No, almost 18, 16, 15, something like that years. Although Manoli claims to be done with me now.
I brought him back for this just because I think we need some closure, but this is it, Bryce. I've known you for too long is the issue. So
it's a valid point.
No, we've been in school together for almost the whole way up. I mean, First grade, we met it, and then, we were friends. I don't know how exactly we became friends, but somehow he's put up with me all this time. And, no easy work on my part either, putting up with him, because this guy he's something else, and you'll get some of that. But, yeah, I've known him my whole life, basically, and then we went to college together, and, we've stayed close. We've stayed good. I was in his wedding last October. It was a very nice affair.
That's great.
Very nice affair. I know I talked about how I don't usually like weddings, but this was a good one, okay? This is a good one.
I'm glad we were the exception.
You're the exception, yes.
What a miracle.
What a miracle. So Bryce has a lot of interest, I should say. He's very much into... He's an analytical kind of guy. He likes to think himself through things. He observes things. He likes NASCAR. He loves hockey. He likes to make spreadsheets, that kind of thing. But he also has an affinity for airports.
I do.
Where did this come from? Your very critical eye when it comes to where your airport.
Yeah, I mean, I think just commercialism in general interests me. It's not like I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it, but it's like I think airports are like just this hub of just everything in your face, from flights and travel and tourism to all the stores and the shopping and the restaurants, and there's just so much. Like never in your life will you be in a place other than an airport where you can just walk from a Best Buy to a Carrabba's without leaving the same building, and then hop on a flight to Cancun right after. And so it's just, I don't know, just a wonderful place that it's unlike anything else. And I think there are good airports. I think there are awful airports, and I'd love to talk about it if you're okay with it.
Oh yes, I've done my fair share of traveling as well. So what would you say is your favorite airport that you've been to?
All right, so we'll start with favorite. Favorite airport would be the Baltimore Washington Airport, Thurgood Marshall Baltimore Washington Airport. I'm so sorry. So it's halfway between DC and Baltimore. It's the third DC airport by technicality, which kind of makes it the armpit, but it is a hidden gem. It's mostly used by Southwest. Southwest, if you don't know, for the listeners out there, kind of just makes their own airports. They say, screw the man, we're just going to do something else.
Like Love Field.
Yes. Like Midway. Lots of airports, they were at Long Beach instead of LAX for a while. Different ones, I think they're at, LaGuardia. Anyway, all that to say, they love doing the other thing. And Baltimore, Washington is a prime example of them doing the other thing, where they've built this wonderful airport all for themselves, really. I think the thing that makes it great for me is that it's not large, but in the compact space it's in, it has every single amenity and food desire you could possibly want, from Chick-fil-A to Dunkin' to Seattle's best coffee to Asian food. And it's Southwest. And I love Southwest. They're cheap flights, and it's such a great airport. Normally, I find myself at the Baltimore Washington Airport by accident. Normally, I always get rerouted there, which is kind of a blessing in disguise, because amidst the disgruntledness of having my flight plans changed, I get to experience a long layover in a wonderful airport. And so I think Baltimore Washington is the clear favorite for me. I would like to know your opinion on a great airport.
Well, I've not experienced Baltimore, Washington. I can't say. I find that the airports that are the best are the ones that surprise you.
Yes.
For example, the airport in New Orleans has, I think it's Louis Armstrong. The abbreviation is MSY.
That's right.
And they've done a fantastic renovation on it. They have a Cafe Du Monde there. You can get some beignets, some coffee. They've really impressed me with their renovation. It's very new, chic, modern. You got good food there. They did a good job. I hate I don't get to spend much time there because you fly in late, you fly out early. So you fly in, you wouldn't spend any time there anyway. See, there's no logic here. You see, I'm the illogical one. He's the logical one. So I always mess up. So my listeners know this by now. I'm just kind of an erratic mess. But yeah, New Orleans has really impressed me with the renovation because it used to kind of suck, but now it's good. I would say the Tampa airport is not bad.
You're right.
It's not bad. I flew down there for your bachelor party, and I enjoyed my time waiting there on my return.
Now you flew on a new airline to Tampa.
Yes,
I think the listeners would enjoy hearing about an airline that is not Delta, American, or United.
Yes, so this is Breeze Airways. It's one of those new. There's always a new airline every now and then, right? They kind of spring up. They do the low fare thing. So it was. Flight to Tampa, it was on Breeze. It was nice and easy. They had a screen on the back of the seat. The seats reclined. I was happy with that for an hour and a half flight. I mean, you can't really beat it. It left late. I think I left Charleston about 7 p.m. and I got there. You were graciously picked me up from the airport with y'all had just come from the baseball game.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was nice and easy. I knew someone on the flight. Somebody we went to high school with, but just happened to be on the same flight. So I sat with him. We talked. We called up. Nice and easy breeze. I like breeze.
Would you say
easy breezy?
Yeah, there it is. I was going to ask
easy
if your flight was a breeze.
It was a breeze. It was a breeze. They I don't think they had a. Did they have service? I don't think so. They might have given me pretzels, but at this point, what else do you need?
I'm going to be biased here. I'm all for any airline that wants to make Charleston its hub.
Absolutely, yes. We need investment. Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
So what would you say is your least favorite airport?
Least favorite airport would be Charlotte, by far.
Charlotte.
Charlotte cannot stop doing construction at any point. For the listeners who are about to scream and talk about how awful LaGuardia is, first of all, you're right. LaGuardia is not good. You have not been to Charlotte, it appears. Charlotte is full of construction, full of bad smells and odors, and just no consistency in good restaurants, good food. I think their only coffee option is Starbucks, which is fine. I just like other options. They don't even have Chick-fil-A in the airport, which is really devastating.
South.
It's really sad in the South, in a major southern city. It's awful. They're an American hub. I'm not the biggest fan of American personally, so that makes things worse. And then usually, if there's any American airport where it seems like the delays and the lost luggage always happens, it's normally always Charlotte. For whatever reason, it's like the New York airports are normally fine with American. Dallas is normally okay, even Chicago, but specifically the issues seem to always happen out of Charlotte. And so all that to say, I'm not really a huge fan of Charlotte.
Something interesting about Charlotte is that a friend of mine was there, my friend Catherine. She said, why are you at the Charlotte airport? Because you have like 50 doppelgangers here. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, everybody in the Charlotte airport looks like you. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, they look like they had the hair, the fit. I'm like, what is my fit? I don't think I have a fit. She's like, a nicest shirt with jeans. I'm like, is that my fit? And she's like, yeah, you have about 50 of you at the Charlotte airport at any given time. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Flash forward, maybe a month, 2 months later, who texts me? Tiz, are you at the Charlotte airport? Huh. I just saw somebody look just like you. I'm like, so I have an animosity against the Charlotte airport because they have a bunch of me in there, and I there can only be one. There can only be one Manoli.
I have bumped into, and this is going to sound weird. If there's ever been an airport where I've seen like the most like famous people before, it's Charlotte for whatever reason. Like I've seen like different athletes and stuff I recognize. Like last time I was there, I bumped into Michael McDowell, who won the most recent Daytona 500. Or 2021 won the Daytona 500. He was just walking around the airport. I'm like, okay.
Did you say hi?
I did not, because I had already passed by him when I had done the double take and said, oh, that's Michael McDowell just walking on by. Cool. And then I just kept on going. I should have run back, but then again, I didn't want to be that guy.
He would have liked to be recognized.
Probably. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's busy.
Maybe. Yeah, you did the right thing. So I have an animosity towards Charlotte in that regard. Now, how do you feel about the what the heck is it called? Jackson Hartsfield?
All right, so let's talk Big Four. So the Big Four.
Big Four? There's a Big Four?
I would think so. I would think Atlanta, JFK, O'Hare, and LAX. Okay. So Atlanta serves its purpose, In my opinion, it is large. It is massive. Yeah, the train moves rather quickly. You really can make a half-hour connection there. I don't know how, but you can do it, even if it's 7 terminals away. No, it's an airport that serves its purpose. It's not necessarily like a wow. Like, it's great because I think anyone who flies into Atlanta knows what they're expecting. But overall, I think it's great. I don't have a lot to say about Atlanta. It's got everything you could imagine.
Yeah, my father's a Delta guy. So
yes, if you're a Delta guy, you will fly through Atlanta several times in your life. My dad always used to say to me, when you die on your way to heaven, you'll likely connect in Atlanta.
Yeah, so you like the airport thing. You also like you like NASCAR. Now, how did this start?
How did I like NASCAR?
You just started watching?
So when I was in like 7th grade, I was at my grandfather's house, and my mom's side of the family has like a weird racing history. So my grandfather did like dirt racing and stuff like 50s and the 60s, and raced against NASCAR people from way back when, like your Lee Pettys, your Cale Yarboroughs. Because he's from the kind of the PD Florence area where a lot of NASCAR, the tobacco region where it really kind of took off. And so I was over at his house one day, and he just turned on like qualifying for a race, and it was just seeing all the cars and the logos and the weird names of people that drive cars. I was like, I want to watch this. So then I spent the weekend watching races, and I was like, this is cool. And so it was fun, and I just got into it from there. I would say, like most sports for me, I'm very fair weather, not just like with teams. Like I just, for a season, will get really into one sport, and then we'll stop caring about it for a while. And I'd say I'm not like super into NASCAR right now. Like I know what's going on. Like I understand, like if you and I wanted to have a conversation about it, like I could probably tell you what's going on. But I'm not like, I haven't been watching the last few races this season. But NASCAR seems like it's in a good place as a sport right now. So I guess that's cool.
Oh, that's good. We went to the Daytona.
We did. We went to Daytona together. It was cool. It's massive. It is large.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. It's ginormous.
So it's 2.5 miles long, which doesn't seem like a lot when you say it, because the lap times are about 55 seconds per lap, but these cars are going 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So you feel it when you go out there and you just look around. It's crazy. On TV, it makes it look very small.
Now, that was a great weekend. Do you have any favorite memories from that weekend?
Oh boy. Late nights, a lot of people making very fun decisions. That was the theme of that weekend.
Fun is what you call it?
Fun. Maybe regretful decisions. Fun maybe. Fun for some people. Idiotic for others. Maybe we all make decisions. Some good, some bad. That's just part of being human. But it was a good time.
Oh, it was fun. Yeah, I will say I will never try to go down the stairs in my socks at your cousin's house again. That was a bad idea.
Yeah, there's a lot of steps you can fall down.
That was a lot of steps. And I felt every one of them on my way down.
Are you talking about the big spiral one, or
no? This was coming from where we were playing poker.
Yes, that room. Okay.
Yeah, so going down those stairs, I remember I fell asleep while we were playing that. What is that gentleman's game?
We don't talk about that game.
Yeah, so I can't even explain it. This game you had us going, but it's this bizarre game, and I don't know. For some reason I didn't automatically forfeit by falling asleep during the middle of it. You see, my thing, Bryce, is that I get tired, I just fall asleep.
You do.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you remember back in high school.
I remember there are days where Manoli would just give out first period, and that was it. I can't really think of any like specific times that stood out. I mean, teachers often would just make fun of it. But normally Manoli is either on, like Manoli was ready and itching for a fight, just like ready to go at it with somebody and debate something another politically or what have you. Or he was down for the count. The two statuses of Manoli.
Yeah, some days I just come in with my sunglasses on and I would just sit there and just kind of doze off. Yeah. It was needed. That's before I started drinking coffee. You know what happened was freshman year, second semester, I had a class that was statistics. I kept falling asleep. And the lady goes, "Have you ever tried coffee?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "You need to start drinking coffee." I'm like, Okay, so that's how I got into coffee. But no, so this was pre-coffee Manoli, and yeah, he would just I say, I feel like I'm a lot calmer now than I was in high school.
Probably.
A little more level-headed.
Yes, I would say. I don't hang out with you really in like settings of a lot of people as I did in high school, so I don't really know if I got 10 friends and we all just hung out how you would fare. I just have no frame of reference for that. But around me, you're calmer. So I guess that's good.
How would you describe our school? In
Our high school?
Yeah, in like 3 words.
3 words. Our high school. Unique.
Okay.
Small.
Yes.
Memorable.
Memorable. Care to expand?
I think, as with anyone who, when you grow up with the same group of 30-ish people from kindergarten through 12th grade, you're going to make memories, especially if there's not a large amount of you and you're just together for 12 years. And I think that creates this culture of the camaraderie among us is just so weird. And it's also just school, like going through life changes and puberty together. It means that there's just weird interactions among us all. And so weird interactions among students leads to weird interactions among teachers, weird relationships with teachers and students, and just all kinds of mess. That combined with some interesting school management and administration, and that leads to many of the memories we had at the Baptist.
At the Baptist. That's what we used to say, at the Baptist. Now, you how would you say, what was it like, how should I say? Like, day to day, interacting with our classes. What would you say they were like?
Wild.
Wild, yes. That's a word.
Lots of yelling and fighting. Lots.
Particularly with, our history teacher, remember?
Oh, you're talking about with teachers. Sure, yes. History teachers and Spanish teachers particular, and sometimes English teachers. But
do you remember the Civil War with the Spanish teacher?
Civil War.
Do you remember he tried to lead an uprising against the language department?
We did. I thought it was against administration.
Well, maybe it was both. I think it was.
Either way, he lost.
He lost. Yes,
big time.
He lost big time. But we don't want to get too far into it. But let's just say it was a unique experience going to school the way we did. There was a lot of debating that really shouldn't have happened. I don't think.
Which made for a great debate team.
Yes.
In high school. We had one teacher that put it together of this class loves to argue with each other. What if we could corral this and formalize it, and we would win competitions every year. Mm-hmm. And so our senior year, this teacher was like, we have to do this. And we're like, why? And she's like, no, you don't understand. Like, this is going to be great. And so she corralled us all to do it, and we did it, and we went up there and like won a ton of awards.
We won a ton.
We basically, genuinely. Talk about a great teacher, knowing the gifts of her students. It's like, yeah, she was driven up the wall by how much we argued with one another and debated things. But then she's like, well, let's just go out and win awards to show that we're good at one thing.
Yeah, she's a good lady.
That's great.
Yeah, so we fought amongst ourselves so much that we just kind of we were trained to debate against other people.
We were.
Yeah, sometimes it would just I would say I was guilty of this. I would just get a little riled up.
Yeah.
You were Bryce. You were always a level-headed one. I would say you were kind of in the middle of the road, the middle ground.
I hope so. I hope so.
Because I remember our history teacher. He said, "What did he say? He's like, y'all are being really obnoxious. Okay, yeah. Manoli likes to bring up things that aren't relevant. Sam likes to argue about everything. Everyone else talks about everything other than what I'm talking about. And Bryce, you're okay.
I'm okay.
You're okay.
I'm content in these modern times to be just okay.
Well, you're more than okay.
I mean,
you're a good guy.
Sure, and I appreciate that. But okay is fine. Okay, I will take okay.
You're fine being, the
sure
kind of behind the scenes.
Absolutely. I don't want to get caught in the crossfire.
You don't want to get caught in the crossfire. No, but I think I've caught that, and we've remained close. Yeah, all the way through college.
What would you say is your fondest memory of high school? When you think about high school, what do you look back on and you're thankful for?
2 things. One, the first time I sang an opera aria in front of a crowd. It was the evening of the arts, my freshman year of high school. I'll never forget it. I guess it was 13, 13, 14, something like that. Just the response I got. I I didn't know if I was any good. I mean, looking back now, of course, I cringe at how I sounded, but I didn't know if I was any good at singing. I didn't know what kind of response I was going to get, but it was a very warm response from the entire crowd. Were you there?
I don't think so.
No.
I think I watched the video though.
Yeah, so it was just the response I got from everybody. Like, it was kind of felt like I was accepted by people in my own grade, people in the upper school and middle. I mean, listen. You remember back in middle school, we weren't exactly the, how should we say, the popular kids.
No, and that's fine.
Which is fine. Yes, I agree. But I felt a great rush, and then again, when I won the student body, the state government election.
Yes,
that was a big one. That was a big one for me. Big things for me, and just the day to day, just the funny stories, the little incidents, just the culture. Getting to go to school downtown Charleston.
Yeah,
that was a big part of it. Walking to, down to Normandy or wherever it is that we used to go, and parking on the Battery, that kind of thing. I'll never forget. I never forget the one time I got in trouble with administration.
Oh, tell me about this.
You weren't there. I don't think you were there.
Okay.
So we had to park basically in this big tourist zone. It got very difficult to park. Essentially,
yes, you had to get there well before 7 a.m. when school didn't start till 8 if you wanted the best of the best spots in terms of free parking. So I was typically getting there at 6:45, 6:50 some mornings, and you'd see everyone else rolling in a little bit after that. But it was, if you wanted prime parking, which, mind you, prime parking is still a 10-minute walk to school.
Yes,
prime parking is not within the midst of school. They used to auction off one spot at the school every year, and it would go for thousands and thousands of dollars. That's how much of a premium parking is. Mm-hmm. So parking is a huge deal. Let's just start there for context.
Right. So I would always get there, and I would try to take a nap before school because, as we've stated, I get sleepy and I just fall asleep. Now, some people would get there early. They might do other activities, extracurricular activities, let us say, use your imagination. But anyway, so I get there early one day and I'm taking a nap, right? This man pulls up beside me. He's trying to park his car. And now I was parked in front of a driveway, okay? Now, I can't move and block the driveway. So he's trying to get into this really tight spot behind me in front of another car. He's trying to parallel park. And it takes him I don't know how long. I wasn't even paying attention. I looked back after 10 minutes to see. It wasn't that long. After 10 minutes to see if he had parked yet. And I look back, and the man is standing behind my license plate. He's writing it down. I'm like, well, what did I do to this guy? I'm like, excuse me, sir, is there a problem? He's like, yeah, you didn't move your car for me so I could park. And I'm writing down your license plate, and if you touch my car, I'll sue you. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you didn't move up for me. I'm like, I would have been blocking the driveway. It would have been my car that got towed, you jerk. I didn't say anything. I'm like, I'm sorry. And I got, how I was. I got mad.
Yes,
so,
of course.
So I'm explaining the story. This is before school. So I'm standing in the hallway, and I'm saying something. I'm telling the story that everyone around me. I like to hold court because I don't know. I get a rush out of it somehow. Anyway, so I'm holding court. And I'm like that guy could go F himself. And I hear behind me, Manoli! And I turn around. The English teacher, Miss Clark. She looks at me, and I'm just like, my jaw just drops to the floor. And she just runs to the principal's office. And then I'm like, oh, I'm dead. And then he comes out, he comes out and he just waves me over with the finger of doom. I'm like, sir, do with me what you will. I know
Did
what
you
I
actually
did
say
was
that?
wrong. Yes, I said, do with me what you will. He's like, don't do that. I'm like, okay. And that was it. So that's the most trouble I ever got in. I probably should have gotten more trouble for some of the things I did instead. But we're calmer now. I know you can't tell, but I'm different, okay? Yeah. I think a little bit different.
College calmed us down.
So, Bryce, how do you feel about... We're big baseball fans, me and Bryce. How do you feel about the state of the game?
All right, state of the game. I'd say the state of the game is fine. Could be better. I'm not the biggest fan of how the Players Association came out of this lockout. It seemed like everybody kind of got to this state, we have to play baseball. We have to. We just got to. We're going to lose money. We lost all this money to the pandemic. We just got to play. They didn't have to. The players could have gotten so much more out of it. But anyway, story for another day. But right now, we're seeing a pretty weird season to start overall. Lots of pitching dominance, which is never fun. I'm surprised we haven't seen kind of like what we saw at the start of last year with like all these perfect games one after another and stuff like that. But it really feels like the baseball is just dead again to start the year. Which I don't know. We'll see how long that holds up. But it's not too entertaining of a game right now. Let's just say that. I hope we can get back there. Mostly the entertaining part is the comedy that bad management, bad players, and bad umpires is bringing us at this time, which is a lot of fun. But that's about it.
The first complete game of the season was thrown last night.
Walker Buehler, right?
Yes, Walker Buehler, my man.
Yeah. What are
Let me get your opinions on that. So it's April 26th. We are 3 weeks into a game or into the season, and the first time in 3 weeks. And keep in mind, you've got 15 games a day.
Of course.
So hundreds of games in, and the first time a one pitcher goes the distance. And mind you, several times this season has a pitcher gone through like 7 innings or so, throwing a no-hitter, and then gets pulled. Like Max Scherzer last night, same deal. Went I think 7 innings without a run, and then the Mets choke it in the ninth. So what are your thoughts?
I was surprised that they let Walker go that distance.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked because, you know what happened with Kershaw. They pulled him after 7 perfect innings. So I think Walker came out and said, I think Dave was pressuring him to come out after the 8th. He said no. Basically, he's like, I'm not coming out after the 8th, which I love to see. I love to see it. And Walker got off to a rocky start because the Dodgers pitching has been great, but he was like the outlier. So he like the first 2 starts of the season, he posted like over a 4 ERA, which is unusual for him. I think he needed this confidence to get back, even if it was against the Diamondbacks, and Diamondbacks suck. Even if it was against the Diamondbacks, I think he needed the confidence for himself to get back on track. Listen, he pitched, he was dominant. He gave up 3 hits. It really should have been 2. One was basically an error, the first one. No runs, 10 strikeouts, complete game. His 3rd of his career. First complete game shutout. I love to watch it. Was it the pragmatic thing to do, to throw over 100 pitches in April? No, maybe not. But I think it'll be fine.
Wins are wins, though.
I think that's the thing that I think baseball people are forgetting is a lot of baseball people are like, we've got to play for September. It's like you've got to get to September first. Yeah. And I am thankful for teams that are willing to play hard now and at least create some excitement now to try to build up something good for October baseball. And so, I'm all for complete game pitching. And also, worth mentioning, too, should Roberts have pulled Buehler? Probably. But at the same time, who do they have in the pen that's actually going to hold the fort down, right? Because it's like...
Kimbrel.
Kimbrel. But, like...
Well, Trinan's out. Gratterall, man.
Yeah, and realistically, the Dodgers don't have the pen that they've had over recent years of, Kenley Jansen's not there. You've got the slowpoke Pedro Baez and his comment. It's like these characters that have kind of held the Dodgers pitching staff together even when the starters haven't been that good. Keep in mind, for a long time, like, other than Kershaw, you had guys there like Alex Wood that were the go-to guy in a rotation. It's like, if he is your go-to guy in your rotation, then you have to rely on your pen. Yeah. I think about like Ross Stripling, those guys. The Dodgers. It's been a while since they had a great rotation like they have right now, and so I think Dave really relying on that rotation more than the pen is not a bad move. And I also think leaving Buehler in for that reason is also not a bad move.
Plus, the first game of the series.
Yes, it's fine. They're ready to save the pen. Yeah. Let's do all those things. So,
how do you feel about the San Diego Motorola's?
I'm sorry. Catch me up on that.
They are the first baseball team to have a company buy an ad on the jersey. How do you feel about that? You think it's good?
I'm fine with it.
It doesn't ruin the.
Well, you're a NASCAR fan. You're used to people wearing ads.
I don't like the idea that sports are these like pristine historic things where it's like we can't evolve.
I think it's fine. NBA's doing it. Like you said, NASCAR's been doing it for years. Even like heck. So I grew up. Manoli wants to talk about hockey. We can talk hockey. So the South Carolina Stingrays were my team growing up. Games all the time. since I've gone to games, they've always had a patch on their jersey for something. For the longest time, it's been like a Chevy dealership in town. And I think they still have that patch, and like other teams in the minors will have like Kroger or whatever local company they want to put on there. But I mean, it's never really been. It's not a new thing in the U.S. like we think it out to be. Like it's not this like, oh, we're blending the European sports with jerseys going to be the main central thing. It's like it's not really that big of a deal. And I think it's fine. It doesn't really take anything away from me.
I mean, but come on. I mean, Stingrays are a minor league hockey team. You're talking about a Major League Baseball team.
Sure.
But also you got to think Motorola's got to be paying so much money though. Like
I didn't realize they were still around. What do they make?
I'm sure phones that no one buys, but this is their chance to get back on the market, though, right?
This is their chance.
This is their
The
chance.
Padres are going to lead them to greatness.
They get primetime TV 162 nights a year, if not more, because the Padres could make postseason. They're very well capable, and so, I mean, I think that's a huge dollar amount they're going to be paying for it, and it could pay off or not, and that's also okay. But I think it is good. I don't see a reason why it is not a good thing.
You're a Yankee fan.
I am a Yankee fan.
How'd that happen?
We had the River Dogs in town.
Oh, that's
They
right.
were
Yes.
Yankees affiliate, and I was like, so the people I get to see here are going to play in the majors one day.
And they did, right? So I grew up with the likes of Judge and
Mm-hmm.
Gary Sanchez and Severino and these guys coming through the team. Even other random people that went to other teams, like Jose Quintana was a River Dog first, and then he went to the White Sox, and then eventually the Cubs, and wherever he is now. But even different people like that have kind of come up originally as a River Dog through the Yankee system. I don't know. It's just been fun to kind of follow that. The Yankees are fine, I guess, right now. Now I think maybe this is my bias. I love Gary. They should not have traded Gary. One of my best friends is a Yankees fan, and he's so thankful that Gary's gone. He's literally texted me. He's like, praise God. But I thought Gary was fine. Gary is not good on defense, but can hit. And I think I am all for the Moneyball strategy of let's just put people on base. I don't think you need these like crazy pitch framing catchers who will hit 200 yet give your pitcher a perfect game. No, it's like I would rather see my Yankees win like 9-7 than like 1-0.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yes.
I was going to ask you something. What the heck was that? I don't know.
I always forget.
You see, you get me off track. You're just so unpredictable.
So
Bryce.
sorry.
I don't know where you're going to go.
That's my nature.
Bryce, we grew up in Charleston. How's the city changed?
How has the city changed?
I'd say when I was a kid going to school downtown, it was peaceful, quiet, serene, small-ish town, yet has everything you need. And now you can't go an inch without running into 12 tourists. That's it. That's the biggest thing that's changed. While I'm thankful that every magazine and their mother wants to talk about how great Charleston is, and everyone wants to, I think it's funny on the USC when you come to USC. There is like a bucket list they gave me like on the first day of orientation, and like one of like the top 10 things to do is to take a trip to Charleston.
Uh-huh.
So if coming to Columbia is like a gateway to Charleston,
It's like a 2-hour drive,
right? And so I think that frames just how big of a deal Charleston's becoming right now out of nowhere. It's just weird to me. But it's this tourist trap all of a sudden, and I think it's a good thing. I don't really know. It'll be a better thing if they finish 526, but we don't have to go there.
But do you think too many people move here too fast?
No, Charleston's going to expand. I mean, outward. I mean, if you have a farm in Ravenel or in Allendale right now, or in like, I don't know, wherever the Volvo plant is going up 26. If you have a farm or a lot of land out there, hug it while it lasts, because you are probably about to lose it, or you could sell it for a lot of money right now.
Steal it.
I mean, eminent domain.
Oh yeah, maybe.
The city of Charleston will get what it wants in that regard.
Yeah, that's beyond the city. That's up to.
They'll
Get
get
over it.
what they want.
You think so?
Anyway, enough about city politics in that regard. I think I am all for Charleston giving South Carolina a sense of like a big city feel for once. I think it could be a good thing for the region, because other than Charlotte, the Carolinas don't really have like a
city.
big
No.
city. The closest like true city per se is Atlanta, really, and so I don't know if Charleston could rival a place like Charlotte in terms of like population and workforce and all of those things. I mean, they've got the business there now that they've got Boeing, and so I could easily see even more of that coming in. I mean, Google's like right around the corner in some random town off of 95 right there, and so I could easily see some further expansion of the Charleston area, even out to like I-95 or something like that, which would be crazy. But I could easily see even more expansion of the city, which I don't think is a bad thing either.
Yeah, I think it's nice people want to move into my town.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's
my
a nice
attitude.
thing. You're somewhere desirable.
Right.
Of course, it's going to make it hard for when, I move back there.
Yeah.
I'll try to find my own place, but we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
For sure. You're not going back.
No, I probably won't go back.
No.
I love, I mean, my wife and I are here. Her family's here. It's just accessible. I mean, we've just got a ton of friends in Columbia right now where it's like we don't have any real interest in moving. And honestly, like for the reasons we've talked about of like why we're happy that Charleston's grown, it's for those reasons I wouldn't want to move back.
Yeah.
It's like I just don't want to go right back into the thick of that. Even now, in the midst of this housing market and things like that, it's like could not do it.
No. They gave Con Nast gave it to somebody else this year. Did you know that? I think they gave it to Aspen, maybe, or some place in Colorado. I don't know. They finally gave us a rest. Maybe more people will move out there.
I don't know.
instead of
Maybe
here.
maybe we'll turn it on.
Fun fact about Aspen, Colorado. It's the only place random fact for your listeners today. It's the
The only
Please.
place outside of South Carolina that has a home team barbecue.
Why do they have a home team barbecue? Is it the same people?
It's the same people. I don't know the answer to these questions.
Oh.
But I remember
looking at their menu the other day. Well, we were at the one right over here in 5 Points, and it was like locations menus, and it's like Charleston, Columbia, Greenville, and Aspen, Colorado.
How random.
I don't answer these
And they're
questions.
putting the halls in Nashville.
Are they?
Oh,
Good,
yes.
Good. I'm all for Charleston, South Carolina restaurants expanding. The one that needs to take off, and I'm glad it's starting to take off finally, is East Bay Deli. So for you listeners who are listening to this 10 years later, and East Bay Deli has taken over your town, be thankful, because East Bay Deli is a treat in and of itself. I grew up going to the one downtown Charleston, actually on East Bay Street, and now I'm in college, and they've got like 7 or so here in Columbia.
Yeah, they have a lot.
So I live across the river in Casey, and they just built one like a minute from my house, right over the bridge, and so it's easy, quick lunch spot. It's so good. Go there all the time.
I thought about Colorado. I thought about your airport thing. How would you just? Have you been to the Denver International Airport?
Absolutely.
What would you say that there's something? There's a big theory about this, and we've talked about this at
There's
length.
many theories.
There's a
about
theory
this.
about the Denver International Airport that it's connected, to reptilian shapeshifters and a new world order or something. Did you notice anything strange while you were there?
So, if I had to guess, there's enough evidence to show that something has or is happening there. As far as lizard people or the New World Order, probably not. But it does scare you when you see bunkers and see that the airport is shaped in the form of a swastika.
Yeah.
And see just weird figurines of horsemen and lizards all over the airport. So it's enough to creep you out and make you ask questions for sure. Could I see there being some interesting activity underground the airport, like at least like a bunker or something like that? Yeah, probably. That would not surprise me, and I think that's probably what it is. But God, does that airport have such a weird way of wanting to convey that?
So you think that there's something odd?
I think there's something happening there. I don't think it's anything.
We're not going to take it. This isn't the Illuminati.
It's not. Area 51 is not underneath that airport,
Okay.
but I could easily see it being like a hideout bunker or something a bit more like militaristic, something a bit more discreet. That's not as flashy and as conspiratorial, but something that's kind of useful and practical for the government. That building has secrets. I don't know what they are. I don't think they're important enough to where the lizards mean anything, or the horses.
The lizards or the horses, the pale horses, if you would.
No.
Oh gosh, a cute dog, by the way.
Yeah.
Adorable.
Yeah, she's great.
What kind of dog?
So it's a mini Bernedoodle. So it is several generations above it were bred a Bernese Mountain Dog and a poodle. and they intentionally from there bred several generations of small versions of those Bernedoodles, and then this is the small offspring of 2 Bernedoodles, and so it's supposed to only get up to 35 pounds, which is great. But Junie is great. This is the first time in my life I'm actually having to like take care of something because I was an only child. We never had pets, and my mom, for all practical purposes, stayed at home. And then when my dad passed, I was already at that point like 16, 17, so I'm already self-sufficient. So, and then marriage, it's like we equally take care of each other, but it's not like we can't, live without the other person. And so this is the first time that there is a breathing thing that will die if I do not support it. And so there's a weird weight there for sure, but overall it's fun. It's great.
So 35 pounds, that's how big it'll get?
35 is the cap.
Okay.
It'll probably get there, or she will probably get to 35 because she has grown like a pound a week.
Oh, wow.
We got her at 9 weeks, 9 pounds. We're now at 13 weeks. She is now 13 pounds.
Oh.
So yes, I don't see a way in which she does not get to 50. Or not 50, what, 35?
50.
Honestly.
That's,
Probably.
that's a lot more than you bargained for.
Honestly, would not surprise me.
Bryce, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy to call you my friend. I think Dr. Jackie Ogden would be very proud of you.
She would. What a reference!
What a reference! You were not expecting that.
I was not expecting Manoli to bring up Dr. Jackie Ogden on this podcast, but that was great.
Dr. Jackie Ogden is the leader for us all, along with Steven Spielberg.
And his buddy E.T.
His buddy E.T. Yeah, so just
go to Disney. Go to Orlando if you want those references.
Yes, go to if you want to get those references, you got to experience it for yourself.
Have you, or are you planning on writing?
Are you planning on writing what? Staying at the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser?
Oh no, I think that's much too expensive.
Interesting. So if the price came down, would you do it?
How down?
So what are they at right now? Like 1,000 a room?
I think it's more.
Okay.
I think it's like 2,000.
Would you
2 nights maybe?
That's several. So if you got a group of friends together to do it, like 4 or 5 people, or you went with your family, would you do it at like 1,000 a room?
Yeah.
For those 2 nights.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I haven't heard great things about it.
No, I've heard some actually like pretty poor reviews of it, which is kind of interesting because when I've like watched some like videos online about it, it seems pretty cool. It's like I don't understand the negative reviews from it. I'm guessing it's feedback from the fact that they haven't really sold out any of the voyages, whatever they're calling it so far. But looks cool.
It looks cool. I don't know if it's worth the price tag.
No.
As it stands, but I think if they bring it down, which they will, because they're going to have to, otherwise they're going to have to admit that they can't fill this hotel that they've been building for years and trying to market. I think they'll have to bring it down, but yeah, if they brought it down and if it was like you said, 4 or 5 people and we all split it equally, I would do it. Yeah, sure. I think so. Yeah, I'm a Star Wars guy. You know that.
I know.
You're kind of a Star Wars
guy. Not
You're
really.
more Marvel, aren't you?
Yeah, I would say so. And even then, I'm again a fair weather fan because there'll be times where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to sit down and watch every Disney Plus show at 3 a.m. as soon as it drops. And then there are other times where I'm like, I'll get around to Moon Knight at some point. So, it's kind of here and there. That's really me with just about almost everything. It feels like
even me.
Yeah, pretty much. There are seasons where I talk to Manoli too much, and other times where I don't talk to Manoli, and that's fine.
You see,
that's fine.
Too much. It's too much of me.
I think so.
There is a
this
good
is why we
amount
get
of
along.
Manoli in your coffee each morning. There's a right amount. There is a too much. There is a too little, and there's a right amount.
There's the right amount. You see, this is why we get along. See, he says that stuff to me. Other people don't, and I appreciate it.
Honesty.
I appreciate the honesty.
Open and clear communication.
Yeah, and that's what I said when I had to give the speech a speech at one of the many speeches at his wedding. I said, you know why I like Bryce is that he tells you it like it is. He doesn't mince words. He tells you how he's feeling. So if I say something out of line, he's going to say, Manoli, come on, what are you talking about? Yeah. That's what you need people like that in your life, I think. You don't want yes people.
No, I don't understand. I have a tough time understanding people who are not just honest with each other and will just lie to get what they want. It's like, I don't really see what that does for you. This doesn't make sense. It's like, honestly, I think if people respected honest and clear communication more, even if it hurt their feelings, we'd live in a much better world than we do now. But then again, people don't like hearing things that they don't like hearing. So if they don't want to hear it, they're not going to care about you at all.
What was your personality thing? I don't know them all. What was your thing?
Talking about like the Enneagram?
That. What does yours mean?
So
I'm not as into it as some.
So for context, listeners, this is a personality test that you take. It's like 100 questions, and it gives you a number between 1 and 9. And they all mean different things. They all have like wings and different kind of side groups that kind of help explain like what your motive. And I think what's cool about this one is basically it's like how do you interact with other people. It's not necessarily a who are you on the inside, but it's more of a who are you practically speaking. So my number was a 3. Which is an achiever. So my mindset, my default around other people, around social settings is what is there to gain and what is there to win and how can I go and run after that. I'd say that's genuinely how I process things, and it's tough to kind of break from that. There are 2 wings for the 3. It's either a wing 2 or wing 4. Wing 2s lean towards how can we as a team win? How can we do it? So 3 wing 2s are great baseball coaches. They're going to rally their team to go after their title. How can we? It's not an I doing it. It's a we doing it. 3 wing 4 is like, I don't care about you. I'm going to win. I alone am the winner. You all are the losers. I'd say I lean more to the 3 wing 4, unfortunately. As much as I'd love to be. Let's do this together, guys.
You could be pretty competitive.
I think I'm very competitive naturally.
In the right setting.
And I get frustrated when anybody, even people I'm working with, competes against me. Just naturally, that's just my default. I mean, it's something I work on for sure, because I don't think that's a positive quality all the time. But at the same time, it's just a default personality type. Well,
I was 8.
8. So
does that make sense?
8 was a justice seeker or like a truth teller. So, I mean, as we all know, Manoli calls it like it is, and we'll tell you, and we'll be very bold about that. I'm assuming your wing was 7. Okay, so 7, the reason why is because 9 is a peacemaker. And Manoli is not much of a peacemaker. 7 is more of like a socialite, so they're the life of the party. Yeah. So Manoli likes to get around and likes to be around people, which we all know. He is the life of the party. But his primary default is he is truthful in doing so. Like he will not be friends and socialize with people who are not willing to hear out and tolerate his bluntness, which is true of him.
Yes.
And true of the people around him.
It's not for everyone.
No, Manoli is not for everyone.
Yes, indeed. But no, I appreciate. I forgot what exactly mine meant, so I wanted to ask you. Now, Bryce, we also come from a background of performing.
We do.
Yes, so we did a couple shows together.
We did.
We did The Lion King.
We did Lion King. That was fun.
That was Scar. You were.
No, it was the parrot. What's the parrot's name?
Zazu.
That's right.
Zazu. Yes. Yeah. So, do you miss performing?
I'd say so. I'd say there's a lot of areas in which I get to. I don't want to call it performing. I'd say what I loved about acting was that I got to get on a stage and talk to people. Even if I wasn't talking to the audience or even if I wasn't playing me, I got to get on a stage and just talk. And I think there is something to be said about enjoying being in front of people and talking and singing or performing or what have you. And honestly, that's kind of why I love kind of career and different things I'm going into is like for the rest of my life, I get to be in front of a crowd and just talk. Not to kind of dig too much into what I'm doing in my life, but that's kind of what I enjoyed about it the most was less like the accuracy of what I'm doing or the specifics of singing and being something different. I didn't really find much comfort in being someone other than me, but I'd say I enjoy just being in front of a lot of people and saying things.
Do you think, I mean, you've taken some leadership roles in your church and whatnot. Do you think it comes from that?
I'd say so. I'd say naturally I find, I wrestled with the idea of people naturally being leaders because I'm like, that doesn't seem right. But I mean, I've talked to pastors and things like that and they're like, nope, you're just a good leader and that's a good thing and we need good leaders. And so I think that's given me some comfort in terms of, no, this is just a gifting I feel like I have. It's just to lead people well. And I like to think I do a good job of that. Maybe I don't. I don't know. We'll see. I like to think I handle that fine, leading people. But, I mean, I'd say that kind of roots from, like, the enjoyment of doing theater and not necessarily, like I said, performing, but just getting on a stage in front of lots of people. Like, I was never one of those who had, like, this massive amounts of stage fright. Like, I honestly, like, the highlight of my year was performing because it meant I had all these people who were just looking at me. And so, yeah.
That's great. We're about to graduate soon.
We are.
Yes. So mine's Friday. What day are you?
Saturday, I think so, because education. So
okay. Well, again, we're gonna wrap it up here. So, Bryce, thank you for coming on, especially before I move away. You're staying here, so I really wanted to get you on, especially in person, because I think it's much better.
It's much better in person.
But,
thank you for having me.
Oh, of course, it's my pleasure. It's always good talking to you, Bryce.
Yeah.
It's always good. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
Willing to come on, and you're great. I've said it before. I say you're a great guy. I'm proud to call you my friend.
Wow.
Proud to have you in my life.
What an honor.
Yes, what an honor.
And now he's done with me, guys.
And now I'm done with them. So this is it.
This is it.
All right. So once again, thank you, Bryce. I will see you all very soon. Have a great rest of your day. Like and subscribe as always. I'll see you soon. All right. Thank you.